Yo, what's happening everybody, King GBL here, and welcome back to some Go Battle League. Today I'm going to be showcasing a very strong team, and an original team that I came up with a few days ago, which has gotten me all the way from 2821 up to 2990 ELO. At the time of recording this video, I haven't yet hit Legend, but hopefully within one set tomorrow, I can hit Legend, and that'll be 200 ELO in 10 sets. This team is exceptionally strong, and I want to share this team with you all. This is not a team that everybody's using, so people aren't automatically going to know what the team is. Whenever you're trying to climb in Go Battle League, if everybody knows what your team is based on your lead, you're kind of in a tricky spot, right? People can automatically plan what they want to do for the rest of the match based on your lead if it's a super obvious team. The team I showcased last time was Superior, Carbink and Dugong. A lot of people now know that team because myself, Henry, Zerfilrose and I believe Zionic has uploaded a variation of that team as well. So whenever people see that Superior lead, they pretty much know what to do with it. For anybody here who is subscribed to the channel, hopefully you can get some good use out of this team, and hopefully you can make a push with it as well. Let's hop into the battles, have a look at some of the more tricky matchups, because I did get a decent amount of flying leads, and I was able to overcome a lot of them. The thing that's so exceptional about this team is Steelix is amazing for taking swap, against things that it really should not be taking swap against. Psychic Fangs allows you to basically run through a lot of the ground types in the meta, things like Ligar. As you can see, we're actually dropping down to 2809. For the first couple of battles of this set, I was using a completely different team. I went 0-2, and then I was able to recover this set with this strong team. Without any further ado guys, let's hop on into the battles, into the commentary, all of the need to knows about the team, and if you do enjoy today's video, of course, one more further ado, drop a like, subscribe, it is absolutely free, it's much appreciated, and if you want to keep up to date with some strong teams that I'm going to be pushing leaderboards with hopefully, feel free to hit that subscribe button. Also, I share my teams in Discord before I share them anywhere else, so feel free to join that in the description down below as well. So in this matchup here, it was quite an interesting one, because the opponent just let the shuttleable go, so arguably what I could have done was just shielded once and farmed it in with Ape, because now we're getting the Gligar, but as you guys are seeing, we're running a very unique moveset on the Annihilate. I'm actually running this with Ice Punch, which in a lot of different situations worked out super well for me. As you're about to see here, this Gligar, they can't really afford to shield it, they let the move go, we come into Steelix, start farming it down. In this meta we have an absolute ton of Gligar, Mandibuzz is starting to become a lot more common, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, Superior is now quite common, so I think Ice Punch is quite a unique and interesting moveset, and on the Steelix we're running Earthquake, and there's some very specific reasons why we want Earthquake. Now the one Pokemon on this team that we kind of struggle a little bit with is Cresselia on the safe swap. The reason being is because we don't have Crunch on Steelix, we don't have Night Slash on the Annihilate, so it can be a little bit tricky. Anyway guys, hopping into this next battle, we do have the Feraligatr. I decided to go for a catch here, a little bit risky. Fortunately for me, the opponent does go straight for it, and they come straight into an Empoleon. I'm not going to mess about here, I'm going to go straight for drill runs on the Empoleon. They can comfortably live one and get off 2 drill pecks, and of course they know that I'm going to farm them down with Annihilate, so they've no real reason to shield this move. They could shield it if it only keeps some health, but I don't think it's really worth it for them. And the opponent is still forced to throw a charge attack here, so they're going to be basically dry. I'm going to come out with Ape Energy, and that should be pretty decent. I could go for Steelix Energy here as well, but it would be a little bit risky. I decide to counter it the whole way down. The opponent does not get off any more moves. I'm going to go straight for the ball here. Probably a little bit ambitious. We'll see what the opponent wants to do, but they just let the Feraligatr all the way go, and in comes an Annihilate. Now this is where having Ice Punch is definitely significantly worse. I decide to bank an Ice Punch so that it's going to do more damage later on, because I basically want to start going for Psychic Fangs. The opponent here will go for a Night Slash, I'm letting that go. I'm just absolutely hoping and praying for no boost from the opponent. I basically want to get 2 Psychic Fangs off here. I will happily shield a move, just so I can get this off. The thing is, this might come down to a CMP tie, so I just need to hope and pray that the opponent's not using an extremely attack-weighted Annihilate. So this match comes down to CMP tie. Who's going to win the CMP? I've got the Ice Punch banged. The opponent wins CMP, unfortunately. So good game is well played, or so I thought. We actually lived the Night Slash pretty comfortably, and we're going to look to get off this Ice Punch. The opponent's defense is dropped, and they're very low. This Ice Punch would have KO'd no matter what. Good games well played. So in that match we had a fantastic lead, but Feraligatr safe swap is a little bit tricky. Your best answer to it is definitely Dugong. I try to go for the catch again, the opponent does not fall for it unfortunately, and I'm going to happily take the first move here. Not happily, I don't want to take it to be perfectly honest, but we have to. The opponent builds up to 2 moves, I'm going to respect the second one. They do give me a free Ice Shard here, and I'm not going to mess around, I'm going to go straight for Drill Run. I think the opponent will most likely want to get a farm down with Galvantula, which I'm super happy with. Steelix is about the hardest wall in the world to Galvantula. I go for free and throw here, which is not best timing of course, but I need to get this move off. Icy Wind coming in, that will do a lot of damage, and the opponent aggro swaps into Stinky Binky. Now in this situation, I think this is an extremely easy bait opportunity. However, if the opponent decides to call it, it would be very, very bad for me. So I decide to full send. I think the opponent most likely goes for a Rock Slide, but what I absolutely need to do here is get the final shield from the opponent and look to Earthquake it with Steelix. We're going to overfarm as much as possible. I believe I was trying to CMP the Rock Slide here. The opponent shields the move, and we actually get off the Shadow Ball anyway. The opponent overfarmed a little bit too much there. In either case, I think we were pretty fine here. The opponent most likely will swap straight out, and Steelix is about the hardest wall to kill eventually, you can imagine. Even if they had Energy Ball, I think it'll take 2 Energy Balls, and that might not even KO the Steelix. It's super fake, it can probably live 2 Frenzies from a Superior, so you don't have to worry about it. I was getting some lag, I couldn't swap straight out, and we come into the Dugong here. Ninetales' lead is generally a little bit tricky if they're on Charm. Powder Snow's not the worst matchup in the world, because your counters are just destroying them. Their Powder Snows do add up, and they do outspam you, but it's not the most horrible thing in the world. We come into the Dugong, I decide to respect the move. Unfortunately, they do go for Night Slash, so I probably would have got this move off no matter what. The thing is though, at least we're getting some shields down here. I'm thinking we'll come into Steelix here. Look to tank the debuffed energy. Shell Ball coming in, that hurts, not too much though. And they actually aggro swap back into Ninetales. This is fantastic for me, and at this point guys, the opponent's probably expecting Breaking Swipe, Psychic Fangs Crunch. Psychic Fangs Crunch is the standard moveset, so I'm going to YOLO the Earthquake. The opponent does not respect it. We come in and get 2 counters for him, and we'll see what the opponent wants to do. They have a Dragonair in the back. Will the opponent respect this move? Knowing that I get to 2 Night Slashes, the opponent does respect it, and unfortunately, it looks like they're going to get the farm down. This is kind of tricky. I was expecting the opponent to go for a catch here, but this is game over, unfortunately. They do go for the catch anyway. I just didn't have enough health. I think I should have just threw the move straight off, because we were on roughly the same health, so just very, very unfortunate there. I was anticipating the catch, the opponent didn't make it, so I should have really just threw my Ice Punch. At that point, I could have went for Simul KO with Annihilate, just counter each other down, and because I've got some health left in Steelix, I would have won the match. Now hopping into the next one, we have a great lead with Magnezone. The opponent comes into Cresselia. This is a matchup that I was really not too sure how to play it properly. The best answer to Cresselia in this team would be Steelix with Dragon Tails, and of course Earthquake. If we had Crunch, of course we could just go for super effective crunches, it'd be a lot more straightforward. But because we don't have Crunch here and we're running Earthquake, which by the way, I still think this is by far the best moveset. I think Cresselia is so uncommon, so you just try to manage it if you see it. The Magnezone lead is very, very weak to Steelix as well, so arguably I could stem with Ape, trade a shield or two, and then look to go into Steelix or something like that. What I decide to do here is go Psychic Fangs and then go Earthquake. I'm going to end up having to shield a move, which kind of sucks. If the opponent lets us go, they're in a pretty good position because they can basically Volt Switch the whole way down. Basically look to double Wild Charge the Annihilate, so this is kind of tricky for me now. The opponent comes into a Gligar. Had the opponent went for the Volt Switch down, I think I'd be in such a rough position here. Now we're basically fine, the opponent's throwing here basically at this point. They come in with Gligar, we come in with Dugong, the opponent comes in with Ape, we come in with the Monkey here. We're going to basically look to counter this the whole way down. Because they did not get an energy lead, yeah, they're basically screwed. They go for the Mirror Shot, that's perfectly fine. They only get off one more move. We go straight for the Ice Punch on the Gligar. I do believe the opponent CMP'd me here, which was quite interesting, considering I've got a whole ass Dugong in the back. You would think they'd want some energy for it, but they just go for an Earlius here. Dugong can live a Dig and an Earlius. However, Dugong cannot live 2 Digs from Shadow Gligar, so that's something to keep in mind. Negative lead here, we go into Steelix, the opponent comes into a Ninetales. So Ninetales is a better answer to Steelix than you would imagine. You would think an Ice Fairy against a Steel type would be pretty negative. However, Steelix is on Dragon Tail, so of course they double resist the fast move pressure, and can look to shield for you if they want to. The opponent actually respects that move. I decide that I can tank a Weller Ball, but I want to try to, at the very least, get both shields off the opponent. Yeah, I'm going to tank this next one. I'm going to go straight for the Earthquake once more, and it's going to basically either guarantee the knockout, or I'm going to get a shielded advantage for an Annihilate. Once again, we're running Ice Punch on the Ape, so we might be able to hit some like potential flyers with Ice Punch. I don't necessarily mind this too much. This is a little bit awkward here. The opponent goes for an interesting catch and Carbink. That was a massive throw by the opponent, because now I can actually put my Annihilate exactly where I want to put it, and I can appropriately overfarm. The opponent has got absolutely no fast move pressure, so I can just overfarm to my heart's content. I go for a bit of an undercharge here, realizing that if the opponent goes for Moonblast, I can basically counter it the whole way down. Even if they go for Rock Slide here, I still should be able to counter it the whole way down. We commit to it, come out with an entire Shadow Ball, and at this point it's just curtains for the opponent. They can come in with their Giratina, Shadow Ball coming through. This is going to absolutely one-shot the Giratina, well, not quite. They come back in with the Ninetales. We're going to go for an Ice Punch. All I need to do is just get some chip on this thing. We're getting decently low, and yeah, we can let anyone move. Even a Gleam here would be perfectly fine. Good games to the opponent there. I think had the opponent not double shielded or not aggro swapped, I think that would have been like a slightly better play for them. In comes this thing, and in comes Gligar. It is always tempting to stand and go for an Ice Punch. You just go straight into Dugong. If you give them too much of an energy advantage, they'll get off 2 digs. I make a bit of a mistake in this first one. You don't always have to shield up the first dig, because typically if you're fast enough in swapping, The opponent should not get off 2 digs in that matchup. So that's one thing you have to really remember. Versus Gligar, Shadow Gligar, they can get off 2 digs, that'll knock you out. If you boomer swap into that, you have to shield. So I kind of thought that I boomer swapped, but I guess I didn't have to shield that move. So that's a bit unfortunate. In this match, I play this quite unconventionally. I should probably just stay in with the Dugong, just let them take me out, get the energy with Ape afterwards, and just take alignment. But I just thought there would be a Mantine in the back, so I wanted to bring in Steelix, which can do very fine into Farforn with Earthquake, and basically draw out the Mantine I thought was in the back. Once again, we have Ninetales on Steelix, again, pretty like neutralist match. But you're seeing here, like, because we've got such a good energy lead, we can start spamming Psychic Fangs. The opponent had 2 shields, and this third Psychic Fangs is going to do an absolute ton of damage. The opponent kind of respected the Earthquake first time around, and look at this now, they're on super low health. I can come in with Dugong, we can basically eat any one move they want to throw. Even if it's Dazzling Gleam, that's perfectly fine. The opponent goes for a double resisted Weather Ball. I'm going to look to get rid of this thing. And because we are still decently healthy, the opponent cannot farm us down with Farforn. We come into the Ape, we can easily counter down, we don't have to shield anything. We can look to go for a nice Punch Chip, and that would have been good games. So whenever you see Farforn lead, it typically comes with answers to counter in the back. I've seen it with Double Flyer, I've seen it with Cresselia, I've seen it with Annihilate itself at times. So yeah, just worth keeping in mind. Now, I decide to stay in here. I try to make the catch. The opponent does escape with a lot of energy, and we do come into Steelix. Guys, you're about to see, this is where Steelix with Earthquake goes absolutely nuts. Power Whip coming in, we can tank it super easily. By the way, if you're running a Shadow Steelix, you probably cannot tank 2 Power Whips. Non-Shadow can very comfortably tank it. We're going to build all the way up to the Earthquake. So here's what I like to do in this matchup, right? Go for the Psychic Fangs immediately. Why? Because it makes it look like you're trying to just get the debuff immediately and get extra Dragon Tail damage, but we're going to YOLO the Earthquake. The opponent does not respect it. The opponent does not respect it. And before you know it, we have a Feraligatr in the back. So we sort of want to bring in Ape here. The one thing that you have to sort of do with Feraligatr is get a shield down. With 2 shields up, and if they've got an energy lead, it's such an awkward match. Now, because the opponent went for an aggro swap, I'm going to just save my energy, come into Dugong, and basically look to farm this the whole way down. I can understand what the opponent was doing there. They basically guaranteed to get the shield off me, so that's kind of fine. We come into Dugong, we're just going to farm this the whole way down, and just basically come out with like 2 Icy Winds or 2 Drill Runs. I might just go straight Drill Run. They do get off of the dying move, kind of annoying. They will be able to probably farm me down, but we just go for straight 2 Drill Runs, no messing about. There's no point going for a bait here. I think I do bait the second one. If you land a move, you might as well bait the second one. This is pretty much enough to KO at this range. And at this stage, guys, we can just basically counter it the whole way down. So what was a negative lead, we stayed in, we went for an Ice Punch with Annihilate. The opponents are not expecting Ice Punch. And then we took swap against Ferroform with Steelix, which really should not be happening. So that's really the key to why this team is so successful. Now, the opponent's staying in with Dugong. I decide to respect this move. Whenever opponents make plays like this here, it just means they're ABA weak to this Pokemon. They have another Pokemon in the back that's super weak to Annihilate. I think it's worth the shield. Could be like an ABA weak team. Dugong in the lead to kind of cheese through whatever bad lead they get, and then something else in the back. So they try to deal with like Annihilate on the lead, just stay in with Dugong, and then try to sweep with something else. We live that move comfortably enough. Well, not comfortably, but enough to get off this move. We Icy Wind the Dugong, or sorry, the Empoleon. We're going to come in with Monkey. I'm not messing around here. I'm going to go straight for the Shadow Ball, just because we have an entire Steelix in the back, which can easily tank a Frenzy. If I allow the opponent to take my shield, they basically might be able to like double Frenzy plant the Steelix. I think I live 2 Frenzies, but I didn't want to take that risk. We're going to come in with Steelix. I'm going to tank the first move here, just to kind of show the opponent that I don't give a shit. They do realize it's game over, and let's hop on into the next one. It's a pretty like neutralish lead. I think it's quite fine for Superior. We're going to go immediately for the Ice Punch. Now, this team is often the team that I showcased a few days ago. The opponent shields the first move, so I swap straight into Steelix. If you get a Superior lead, you definitely want to save your Annihilate if possible. The opponent comes into a Dugong here. I'm going to go straight for the Earthquake, but yeah, the opponent actually goes straight for their move. So I could shield this if I wanted to, technically. Get off the Earthquake, get heavy damage. I just don't think it benefits me to do so. I'd rather come in with Monkey Boy, to start absolutely punching the shit out of it, and look to get it just an absolute shitload of energy. I will respect this move because I think it's Carbink in the back, and I want to try to keep as much health on this as possible. I'm going to go for Catch and Dugong here. This will be an Icy Wind, which is kind of unfortunate, but we have 100 energy and Ape for the Superior, but it's actually Cresselia in this case. The opponent's running an interesting variation of his team. I quite like the team from the opponent, because Cresselia offers Grass Pressure in the back. Now, this is a little bit tricky. Like I said, have 100 energy on the Annihilate. I do want to keep that if possible, or keep the shield for Annihilate because of that. Icy Wind coming in, we're going to spam this. We can live another Grass Knot here from this range, so this is kind of fine, I think. I do want to sort of swap out of here. Yeah, I end up deciding to go for the move first. I was going to swap out. I'm going to get them into Ice Punch range. We're going to go straight for the Ice Punch here. I'm not too sure if this quite KOs the Cresselia. We'll have a look here. The opponent actually respects it, and they come into the Dugong to go for a catch. Very nice catch attempt by the opponent. I think they most likely come into Superior. I go for one and throw here. I believe that was a CMP tie. That doesn't quite KO the opponent. We basically shield this up, look to counter this the whole way down, and we should basically come out with the Shadow Ball for Cresselia. So good games to the opponent. Pretty much whenever you're facing off against a team like this, it is typically Carbink and Dugong, so you try to save your Annihilate if possible, and look to try and sweep the backline with it. Once again, another Magnezone lead and another Cresselia safe swap. I just don't know what to do with this, so this time I'm trying to go for an Ice Punch chip. What I decide to do here is Ice Punch chip, and then I think go straight for Earthquake. So typically in this matchup you need 2 Earthquakes to KO the Cresselia. In the 0s, or in the 1s, I believe you need to land 1. So this is weird. I decide to chip it this time, and then I think go Psychic Fangs. So like, I think there's not like an amazing way to go about this. Maybe I just go straight Earthquake this time. Yeah, I think with the chip, this Earthquake should be enough to KO. If the opponent starts shielding, that's where it would get very dicey. Fortunately, the opponent lets it go. Maybe expecting a crunch, or I guess, you know, it doesn't matter, they're just letting it go. I build up to 5 here, 5 and 4 for good timing. 3 versus 4 turns, 5 and 4 is good timing. And like, nobody knows what Steelix counts are, bro. Nobody knows. So like, they just shield the move. And what I decide to do here is go for a snipe, because the opponent will go for an extra Volt Switch, and that's going to do just so much damage. Those 2 counters have basically put that tin can in the recycling bin, and in comes the Scavenger Bird. We go straight for Ice Punch, and by the looks of things, like in the 2-to-1s, we're just completely wrecking this. Aerial coming in, we can definitely comfortably live that. We one and throw the Ice Punch here, and basically Dugong's just going to feast on the rest of this team. We're up 2 shields with Dugong. All I need to do here is basically look to farm it the whole way down. Save all shields for wild charges, mirror shots, whatever rubbish they want to throw at me with the other Pokemon. This is perfectly fine. Aerial coming in, or Dark Pulse in this case. Foul play, sorry. The opponent does go for the snipe with Magnezone, but like, your tin can's gone, bro. They can go for 2 mirror shots here or whatever. I actually take them out with the Ice Shard. Icy Wind coming in, this is going to take out the Mandibles, and yeah, good games well played. So that is a positive lead, but the Cresselia safe swaps are very awkward. Now, not positive lead is Gligar. We come into this thing and we go straight for the Psychic Fangs. Like I said, guys, we go straight for the Psychic Fangs because the opponent's like, oh, the Steelix is going straight for Psychic Fangs. They must be using Breaking Swipe. The reason I'm going for this is just to kind of make the opponent feel like they're very safe in this matchup, because I've just free my energy straight away. They're getting off their second Power Whip. I'm letting the move go. Or actually, sorry, they don't get off their second Power Whip here. I'm going to go straight for the Earthquake. Once again, we're just taking a spot from our Ferrothorn. If you want your Earthquake to one-shot the Ferrothorn, you do need to go for the Psychic Fangs first. The opponent comes into a Ninetales. That's probably, I don't know, Gligar is like, it doesn't have the greatest time against this, to be fair, so I sort of understand. Now the question is, where does my Annihilate go in this team? We've got a Ninetales in the back. We've got Gligar in the front. We have to put the Monkey on this. The opponent's going to go for Weather Ball. The opponent actually builds up to the Psyshock, go straight for it. I'm going to let this move go, look to try and sweep this game of Dugong. So, because I think they're going to go straight for Dig here, I think I should respect these moves. Or at the very least, respect one of them. I'm going to go for Free and Throw for perfect timing here, which I think most likely gets a shield back off the opponent. The opponent does respect it, and because I've already shielded up the harder hitting move, I'm going to let this next move go. I want to keep at least one shield for a Psyshock. The opponent's fast moves are double resisted. I can comfortably live a Psyshock, so there's no reason for me to bait. We're going to go straight for it. The opponent respects the move. That's perfectly fine. I'm going to go straight for another one. I think the opponent's trying to get a bit of an overfarm for the Annihilate, of course, to come back. I come in, snipe off the counter, and that's good games. Steelix doing Steelix things. This Pokemon got nerfed, I think, 2 seasons ago, but like, this Pokemon is still insanely strong. Now, on a Ninetales lead, I like to check what the moveset is. This is actually Powder Snow. If it's Powder Snow, you can stay in, because it's actually like a lot worse for Steelix if they're in Powder Snow. The opponent comes into a Poly, they swap a little bit late. I try to throw this off in good timing, but of course, on the swap, it is a little bit tricky. But we should still be able to get off 2 Psychic Fangs. However, the opponent does not allow that to happen. They go straight for the move, knowing that 2 Psychic Fangs starts making this match extremely uncomfortable for them. So we're going to come in with Monkey, with debuff their defense. We're going to look to get a huge farm down. What do I decide to do here? Do I shield? I let this move go. But interesting, Scald hits like an absolute truck. Might have been more of a shield, but I decide to keep it, try to get a shield advantage, and just hope and pray that Dugong can basically beat whatever's in the back. I go for an Ice Punch bait here. I think it's pretty obvious that I would go Shadow Ball. The opponent respects it. I'm going to try to build up, and I bank 1 off a Shadow Ball. So have an Ice Punch banked, or 1 off the Shadow Ball. I think the opponent could go for Dazzling Gleam here, so I respect it. And by the looks of things, guys, the opponent might be quite weak to Dugong in the back. So I'm going to let one of these moves go. Psyshock, it's not really a great move. We're going to look to one and fro. Whenever I'm doing one and fro, if I think the opponent's going to catch, I make sure that I actually see the second animation coming in, and the opponent's actually on a stun Fisk in the back. We go for free and fro. We always go straight Icy Wind on stun Fisk. This will get the opponent quite low. 2 Icy Winds will basically KO. I don't have to shield this necessarily, but I think I can look to get off my second move before they get off their next move. In fact, the opponent does get off their move. I'm going to go for an Icy Wind anyway. Pretty much all I need to do is get the shield off the opponent. I stored an Ice Punch with the Ape, and I think the Ninetales is on 1 HP. So we'll basically simul KO the Ninetales, and this should be pretty much a good game. So you're seeing in this video, like, I'm making a specific point of putting in all of these really negative matchups for me. Of course, I RPS'd opponents like this game, most likely. To make this massive run of 200 ELO in 2 days, I had to overcome a lot of bad leads. Now, of course, we got a good lead in this match, and I come into Dugong. I overfarm because they're in Powder Snow, and because the opponent built up to 9, they should be in Dazzling Gleam. That is the typical moveset with Ninetales. I have to respect the move. That would just do so much damage. It would do probably like 60, 70%, maybe more to Dugong. And I just realized that Dugong is still very, very useful here. Now, let's actually see how much this does. I can tank one, but look how much that does. That does so much damage to Dugong. Like, I have to respect the first move. I'm happy enough even to respect one Psyshock, because I know that whenever they come back in with Empoleon, they cannot really afford to shield these moves. I'm going to come in and go for the snipe. In comes Gligar, and the opponent is basically in absolute shambles here. The opponent actually respects the Ice Punch, quite surprisingly. What I decide to do here is shield, get the opponent's final shield. I think that just puts me in a much better position to win this match, just so that Steelix can cheese its way through. We want to just get this as low as possible. We're going to go for fast moves more or less at this point. I also want to delay this switch cock a little bit, so that I can potentially come in with Steelix, maybe look to go for a catch or something. I'm trying to just sort of prolong this match as much as possible. The opponent comes back into Penguin, and they immediately concede the match. We get a 4-1 on that head, absolutely beautiful, and another Magnezone lead, another Cresselia swap. This time I'm coming straight into Steelix. I've played this matchup differently every time, so you guys can judge from what I'm doing here, or you can have a look at PV Poke and decide what you want to do. Basically, PV Poke says go straight Earthquake. I've went for Psychic Fangs and Earthquake, which gets them extremely low, and it sort of gives you a chance where, like, yeah, we're going for the Psychic Fangs right here. The opponent might end up respecting the first Earthquake, but the second Earthquake will more or less guarantee the knockout. We'll go for one and for good timing. We'll see what the opponent wants to do. Once again, the opponent should come in for a farm down with the Magnezone. It just makes perfect sense for them to do that. Magnezone coming in, we do get off. I do 5 and fro once again, or maybe that was 4 and fro this time, because I didn't think I'd live the full switch, just to get as much energy as possible to try and kind of scare the opponent into shielding. The opponent goes probably for a wild charge. They do. That one counter that I done will do a lot of damage. We come straight into Dugong, not messing around. And yeah, this should be fairly straightforward at this point. I skipped ahead. I decided to go for a huge overfarm with Dugong, just to make sure that whenever Magnezone came back, we could threaten them with 2 moves. I come into the Ape here. I look to go for the CMP tie on the Mirror Shot, Wild Charge, whatever it is. And yeah, we're basically fine. The reason I go for the CMP tie there is because if the opponent has multiple moves, I don't want them to get off both moves, so just go for the CMP tie. Even if you lose it, we can comfortably tank an Aurelius. The opponent might get off 2 moves here, that's perfectly fine, but no, they don't even get off 2 moves. So GG's to the opponent there, and let's have a look at the next battle. We have a Mandibuzz lead, once again a very negative lead. We're going to go for 7 and fro, and what I like to try to do here is to, like I said, 7 and fro the first move. I go for 1 and catch, because their best move timing is 1 and fro, so I do 1 counter and try to catch. The opponents usually don't fall for it, and I'm going to go once again straight for Psychic Fangs on the Fairforn. If you guys have seen it once, you've seen it twice, you've probably seen this about 5 times in this video. We go for the 1 move here. We tank the first Power Whip, absolutely no problem. Again, this is why you want non-Shadow Steelix. I think non-Shadow Steelix, in this particular role that you're trying to achieve of this Pokemon, cheesing swap on things that you shouldn't be able to cheese, you definitely want the non-Shadow. We're going to go for the Earthquake here. We've tanked 2 Power Whips. The opponent probably thinks I'm just giving it up, but I'm giving up nothing. The opponent comes in with their own Steelix, and this is a bit of a pain. Like, you guys have seen how much work my Steelix does. Their Steelix can do the same shit to me, so I have to be careful here. You have to shield everything with an Annihilape, and the opponent does go for the aggro snipe again. So the opponent's definitely making this awkward. They've got a bit of energy in Steelix, they've got 2 shields up, so pretty much, once again, when you're in these positions where you've got like a lowish health Pokemon, even if they get off 2 free moves here, you have to try to commit to the farm down here. That's my only win con. I just farm this thing down as much as I can, debuff the shit out of Steelix when it comes back, and just hope and pray that we can win the match from there. There's an argument to go straight for Drill Run, because the opponent, of course knows I've got the Annihilape. I go for Icy Wind on the first time around. I think I go for it the second time around as well, because these are neutral, so this will definitely chunk the Steelix. They shield both moves, and we're going to come in and go straight for the Shadow Ball and CMP. This is basically game over at this point. The The opponent's Psychic Fangs are going to be doing way less damage, sorry. They're going to be doing way less damage, and yeah, we should be able to just take this no problem. I think the opponent's top lefted as they hit the charge move. Gligar lead once again, we're going to come into the Steelix and see what we can do. Now, if the opponent likes to stay in here, I like to actually shield the first move, but they come into Annihilate. Steelix is about to do Steelix Fangs here. We go for the first Psychic Fangs. The opponent has made the first mistake of this battle. They let the Psychic Fangs go, and they make the second mistake by trying to CMP me. I go for the extra. They go for Night Slash. I go for 1 and fro here for good timing. And basically, all I need to do, I can grab the shield off the opponent, and I can just shield and farm this the whole way down now. It would be extremely risky, but you might even be able to live this Night Slash. Like, look at the health I'm on. If I have a little bit more health, I can live that Night Slash. I'm not going to risk it. We get 1 shield off the opponent, and we get swap, and we're going to get a Psychic Fangs on the Gligar, which is basically going to absolutely force him to swap out. We even get off a second Psychic Fangs. Steelix is absolutely busted, folks. We're taking out an Annihilate, and look what we're doing to the Gligar. It's in the deep yellow. We're coming in with the Dugong, of course. We can tank the Dig, absolutely no problem here. And the opponent comes into their own Steelix with Thunderfang, which is a lot better for the Annihilate here. Psychic Fang's coming in, this is going to chunk, but we're pretty much in the driver's seat here. I go for 1 and fro on the Ice Punch. Of course, this is, you don't have to worry about move timing here. The opponent decides to eat the move. We're going to look to try to get off the next move, but yeah, the opponent's at 1 HP here. Not really too much they can do. Good games to the opponent. We'll farm it the whole way down with Dugong, and basically look to farm down the Gligar as well. Good games to the opponent, and we have a Litleo lead. What an amazing lead. Guys, I make an absolute mess of this match here. If the opponent safe swaps a Guzzlord, I guess coming in Dugong does make sense because we don't have any charge attack pressure with the other thing. The opponent shields the move, and they're making this really dicey for me. Low key, if the opponent comes into a Guzzlord, I would just Ice Punch it first, honestly. I would get the Ice Punch chip and then come into Dugong, because they can make this match just so awkward for the Dugong. They do shield, they come into the Litleo, they get 2 Incinerates for him. Super unfortunate there. We come into this, the opponent comes into Giratina, and I decide to stand and go for a chip. I think this is a slight misplay. I should just come into Steelix. My thinking is though, if I chip it with Ice Punch, I can basically no shield and farm it the whole way down. But that's not really looking like it's going to be the case. Oh, we do get the full farm down, so that kind of worked out. I go for another bit of a mistake here. I go for the very ambitious Earthquake, which if the opponent does decide to shield, they can basically commit to the farm down, and we're just in a rough spot. My only logical play at this point is to call the first move. It is a crunch, which of course does a lot of damage. I'm going to have to try to take this out with a resisted Ice Punch. I'm pretty sure that Ape wins CMP, so I decide to overfarm and let them throw the move first to get the extra counter through and then go for the CMP. I'm not too sure if this counter would have, if this Ice Punch would have KO'd with 1 less counter, but that's how I decided to play it. Gligar comes in. We just absolutely wreck this thing. Once again, non-Shadow Gligar. You can still pretty much farm it the whole way down. You can eat 2 digs. Typically, they don't get to 2 digs and an Earliest, which will be enough to KO. So again, just don't Boomer Swap on the Gligar. You have absolutely no reason to. We're doing super effective damage to him. And at this point, we get off 1 move off the Poly. They only get 1 counter, so that's pretty nice. Steel Run's going to come through. It does about 30% to Poly. It's definitely a nice little chip. We're lagging here for some reason, so it might be like 25%. They come into a Gliscor. I'm going to go straight for the Ice Punch. I want to get some shields down off the opponent. They probably think it's a chip, but it's not a chip. It's a big dip. It's a big dip. We just absolutely eviscerated that Gliscor. And yeah, I'm surprised it didn't one-shot. I'm honestly surprised it didn't one-shot. We're going to farm it the whole way down. And like, Steelix can just cheese its way for a Poly at the stage. Up a Psychic Fang's worth of energy. Curtains. Absolute curtains. The opponent lets the move go knowing it's just over, and good games. In the next matchup here, we have quite a negative typing matchup in Tapu Fini. Pretty awkward match, because we're sort of ABA week 2 like Water Fairy. I decided to go straight for this move on CMP. Now, the opponent's new move is Nature's Madness, which they get to in 17 Water Guns. This was only 16. I know this is just a Surf, but I think if I let this go, it's going to get me into farm down range. I decide here I'm going to go for Catch on the next Surf, realizing that the opponent is just going straight forward. For Surf, guys, it is 14 Water Guns. The opponent comes into an Annihilate here. We go for an Icy Wind. Dugong can do sort of fine-ish into this matchup. If they don't throw a move kind of early-ish, you can look to get off 2 Icy Winds. The opponent, they overfarm quite a lot. I have to let this move go, unfortunately. They go for Ice Punch! Double resisted Ice Punch. The opponent being a little bit greedy there. We go for Icy Wind. That actually takes them out. And like, taking swap doesn't really do that much for me. My best answer to Tapu Fini is, of course, the Annihilate. Of course, we bring in Steelix to the Giratina. We can tank a Shadow Ball here. I let the opponent throw first. I'm going to look to tank this move. I'm going to look to 1 and fro. They go for Ominous Wind. What an absolute bozo. What an absolute bozo play that was. We're going to go for Psychic Fangs, and the opponent swaps into Tapu. I come into the Ape here. I can overfarm a decent amount. All I need to do is go for Ice Punches. Tapu's fairly glassy in the Great League, and one Ice Punch will basically get the job done here. I'm going to shield this move, and what I'm going to do is allow the opponent to Water Gun me down into one Shadow Claw range, just so that they don't get like 2 or 3 Shadow Claws. If the opponent got 2 or 3 Shadow Claws, that might make the difference, maybe not, but I just wanted to make sure they only got 1. We're going to go straight for the Psychic Fangs. That'll take out the Giratina. The opponent did go for a bait, like, so I am not counting while watching here, I can't really remember, but I just remember at the time thinking, like, there's no reason to give them extra energy. So here in this matchup right here, we have Annihilate versus that. If I had a Night Slash, I would stand and go for Chip first, and they come into a Quagsire. Now, believe it or not, guys, there are some absolute serial killers out here who go for Aqua Tail baits in this matchup. So, it's kind of an awkward shield, and the opponent goes for the Aqua Tail. We love that move really comfortably. The problem is, if they land a Stone Edge, it's kind of tricky. I probably should have no-shielded that. I don't know. I decided to go for 2 and 4 here for bad timing because I realized that the opponent's probably going to let this move go, and I want to get an extra Ice Shard for him, because I want to be basically free Ice Shards off the move whenever the opponent comes back in here. Unfortunately, the farm is the whole way down anyway. We come in with the Steelix, the opponent comes into a Gligar, and now we're in a bit of a tricky spot. Technically, like, the opponent should be beating me here with this. We're kind of in an awkward position. They're up a shield. We've got an Ape and a Steelix. They've got a Gligar and a sort of lowish health Dragonair. I decided to respect the first move. The opponent goes straight for the dig. It is a typically kind of bad bait to go for that in Steelix, because Steelix lives this move very comfortably. We go for another Psychic Fangs. Guys, why is Steelix beating the Gligar? Can somebody explain to me, why is Steelix beating Gligar? We're going to look to basically commit to the farm down. We get the entire farm down. I'm going to go straight for Psychic Fangs to lower the opponent's defense. The opponent does not want that to happen, so they decide to go for the Aqua Tail. We're going to come in with Annihilate and basically commit to the farm down. I can tank a move. We're still super healthy here, and we should be in an okay position. Can we win this farm down race against the Dragonair? I decided to go for the 1 HP knockout for the shield there, and that's good games. So those are the end of my battles. I done 9 sets with this team, and I was basically at 29.90. Guys, we get a shiny Vullaby too, which is kind of awesome. I always end up on 29.90, guys. 29.90. So what I decided to do after this is to play my final set after midnight. But of course, first I go for a little Twitter post here. If you guys want to follow me on Twitter, it's at KingGBL_. So I hop back on after midnight. I'm at 29.90 ELO. All I need is a free 2, guys. So that's it. Just one free 2. It's midnight. I'm getting a little bit tired. I just want to go to bed. I just want to be legend. I just want to go to sleep tonight knowing that I am legend, and that is it. I've got 4 weeks of the season left just to make videos, mess around, stream, have some fun in the game, not stress out, right? Because I'm going to be real with you guys, this season's been super stressful. The limited metas in this season have been absolutely awful, and I also think that the Great League meta is probably in the worst space it's ever been in. Something that I've been talking about for a while is how bad RPS the Great League is, and this Great League remix, it just really just confirms that fact to me. Anyway guys, in this first game, they have a Quagsire, they have a Mandibles, it's most likely double flyer, so I think I've already sort of misplayed this match. I'm just speeding it up to 4 times. We do end up losing this game, unfortunately, so I'm getting on at midnight. I'm like, bro, like, of course we lose our first match, I just need a free 2, that's it. Just a free 2. The season's finished, that's all I need. The opponent gets off their next Mud Bomb. I simul KO, unfortunately, and we do lose our first match. In the next match, the algorithm give-off, folks, the algorithm give-off. They swap into the Sableye, I come into the Steelix. We don't have a great answer to Sableye on this team, which it's kind of awkward if it comes through. I decide to shield here, because I'm thinking this Empoleon knows I've got Annihilate. There's absolutely no way. They respect the Earthquake. The opponent lets it go through, and Giratina is in the back. We're going to Psychic Fangs this into Oblivion, and that's good games well played. So the midnight sets are going okay right now. We've got 1 win, 1 loss. We hop into the next battle, and the algorithm give-off once again. Not only do we have a Dugong, we have a Poliwrath safe swap against my Annihilate, but they don't have a good answer to this. And we're going to go for an Ice Punch bait on the Poliwrath. I think they just try their absolute best here to Icy Wind, or they go for Scald, which is amazing. They try to cheese for us. You bait the first move, but you never bait the second one against Poly, because they do typically let the second move go. At this point, we're most likely going to safe swap to whatever comes in, right? They come into the Dugong once again, which is, it's a play. It's a play, and then they come into Gligar. I guess they knew that I had Ice Punch, so like, once again, we're seeing Ice Punch come in clutch. The opponent was afraid to come into my Annihilate with their Gligar because I had Ice Punch. That just tells you everything you need to know. So we go 2-1 up in the final set, and we're hopping into game 4. Now, in the last 2 games, algorithm give-off. Does algorithm give-off once more? The algorithm take-off, ladies and gents. The opponent comes into a Hypno. We come into the Steelix. They come into a Licky Licky. Guys, this is an embarrassing matchup. I'm going to skip through a lot of this. If you guys are not aware of this, Licky Licky can know Earthquake. So, I respect Earthquakes on this. And like an absolute bozo, I don't know who's the biggest bozo, me for respecting it or the opponent for going for it, but they do go for a body slam on Steelix, which is just silly. It's just absolute silliness. And then I think they're actually unshottable. And to make things worse, they've got a Mantine in the back. So my answer to their Hypno is Dugong, so this is rough. They've got Thunder Punch. Good games well played there. If I just no-shielded the Licky Licky, I might have had a better chance, but even still, it was going to be tricky. I was going to have to my Annihilate on their Mandibles, so this was always going to be a bit of a tricky match to win. And folks, after those 4 matches, we're 2 wins, 2 losses. What comes in? It's a Sableye. This is not good. Algorithm Takeoff for the decisive game 5. We come into Dugong and hope. The opponent immediately throws the foul play. I decide because it's not the power gem, I'm going to let it go. And the opponent comes into their own... Oh, this is looking so bad for me. This is looking absolutely horrible for me here. I'm going to try and chip this as much as possible with my own Dugong. Fortunately, I do win CMP, which is good. That might actually help me quite a lot here. His free drill runs gets us pretty low, and if I can get them into a range where the opponent cannot debuff me, unfortunately they're just getting the perfect farm down. That's just so unfortunate. They get the perfect farm down. Now the good thing is they're back on their 5 cycle. I get the counter for him. I can do 7 counters here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 counters was enough to KO. And they come in with Stinky McBinky. Now I am debuffed, so I could have considered swapping out here. I just decide to chip this and look to try and catch a Rock Slide. I go into Steelix, the opponent comes into a Sableye, and my only option here at this point is to go for Psychic Fangs and just basically try to commit to the farm down. Sableye of course lets the Psychic Fangs go. I'm going to respect this move. Any move that Sableye throws, we shield. That's how this works. Stinky Binky knows Moonblast, it knows Rock Slide. We don't have to respect those moves. These are the moves we need to respect. Foul play coming in, and the opponent will most likely come back in with their Stinky. We're going to go for a CMP tie here on the Earthquake. Ladies and gents, will the opponent respect the damage? No, they do not! They let it go, and the opponent top lefts the match. You know, I have to say thank you to that opponent because I think they were going to top left anyway. I think they just immediately top lefted there, let the Earthquake go, and top lefted. But I do also think it would have been the correct play to top left, just because of me having the extra energy. And there we have it, folks. Legend in, I think this is season 18. Guys, this has been such a difficult season for me. We get it straight after midnight. Catch a little cheeky lick of tongue here. Big thank you to everybody who's been supporting the videos this season and the streams. I've had a ton of fun. I've done most of my climbing live on stream, and a big thank you to everybody who's been showing support. Thank you, folks. I highly recommend using this team if you want to make a climb. Get on this team early, because I think this is going to become a super common team. This team is absolutely broken. This team is absolutely busted. I wanted to make an extremely long video for you guys, so that you can actually study the matchups on this team a little bit better, and basically give you like a step-by-step guide on how to play this team out, play against negative leads. This week I've went on an insane run. I believe I started off this week below 2500, and now I've of course hit legend. I gained, I think, what, like 200 and something ELO with the Carbing team I showcased a few days ago, and an extra 200 ELO with this team. So guys, I highly recommend trying this team out. If you guys are still looking to hit Veteran for the first time, Expert for the first time, Legend for the first time, all you have to do is get a good team, learn how to play out of bad matchups with the team, stick to it, don't get too tilted like I've been getting all season. That's been my biggest issue, I think. I've just lost my mentality for being able to like sort of overcome lost matchups and things. I think it's definitely affected my playstyle. So that's what I can recommend to you guys. Learn move counts, learn how to use the team, throw in good timing, and if you're looking to hit, like I said, Veteran, Expert, or Legend for the first time this season, those 3 things will definitely be a huge step in achieving whatever goals you want to achieve in Go Battle League. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic day. I'm going to be streaming shortly after this video goes up, so feel free to check it out. I'll try to pin a comment if I remember. Like and subscribe to the channel if you have not yet done so. Feel free to join our Discord and follow me on Twitter in the description down below. Thanks guys, have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you guys later.